Big changes are coming to the iPhone 14. The notch is getting nixed, the cameras are getting way better, and the design is going to drastically change. But that is just the beginning. Some new leaks sort of lay out Apple's iPhone master plan for the iPhone 14, the iPhone 15, and even the iPhone 16. And we've got a really good idea of what Apple is working on with the iPhone for the next few years. This sounds a little crazy, I know, but stick with me because there is so much here to get excited about. We have so much to talk about in this video that I really honestly don't know where to start, so I guess there's no better place than the beginning and sort of explaining why 2022 is shaping up to be one of Apple's biggest years ever. Because among new Apple Silicon, redesigned Macs, new iPads, AirPods, and Apple Watches, the star of the show is going to be the all-new iPhone 14 series that is going to get some massive upgrades, bigger upgrades than we've seen in many, many years. And I know it seems a little early to start jumping into iPhone 14 rumors and getting all hyped and excited, but even at this point, while we're still months away from the production and announcement of the iPhone 14 series, we've gotten a number of these high-profile rumors confirmed by multiple credible sources, and even if only like half of this stuff, 60–70% of these rumors even turn out to be true, it's still going to be a massive year for the iPhone in 2022. Before I get into this radically new design, I should probably lay out the good news and the bad news that we need to discuss. Good news here is that there will be 4 different models of the iPhone 14 series. It's going to be great, lots of great options for everyone to choose from. But the bad news here is that if you're a fan of the mini-sized iPhone, I'm sorry to say that there is not expected to be an iPhone 14 mini this year. For one reason or another, or multiple reasons, Apple is canning the mini lineup of iPhones, and instead they're going to replace the iPhone 14 mini with an iPhone 14 Max. Not a Pro Max, but the iPhone 14 Max. This will presumably be a 6.7-inch iPhone 14, which is going to be great. It's going to have that really big, beautiful display, but won't have the Pro features and probably the Pro price tag to go along with it. So this is a great phone for, man, parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents, all those who are clamoring for the largest screen iPhone possible, but who don't need the Pro end features. They don't need ProMotion, the triple camera setup. This is going to be a really good sweet spot for a lot of people, and I think the iPhone 14 Max is going to sell like hotcakes. I can think of multiple people in my life personally alone that are going to love this phone. Next up, we've got to talk about this radically new design. Now, the keen-eyed among you will probably recognize this design from the iPhone 4 from 2010. It very much is this iPhone 4 DNA-inspired design brought over to a super modern flagship of 2022. You've got sort of this two-tone industrial design. You've got the circular volume buttons. You've sort of got this speaker mesh on the bottom. It's a really great looking phone and a really great looking design coming to the iPhone 14 in 2022. And one of the biggest design elements, the biggest design changes with the iPhone 14 is the lack of a notch. At least on some models of the iPhone 14 Pro, probably the 14 Pro Max, there will not be a notch on this phone. And I know there have been a lot of skeptics about this, whether Apple will do it, whether they should do it, and also a lot of rumors about when we could see a totally notchless, hole punchless iPhone. When could we see an iPhone with no obstruction on the display? I've actually got an answer for that for you. It's coming sooner than you may be thinking, and I'll come back to more on that in a bit. Next up, let's talk camera. Now, the iPhone has had for years and years one of the best, if not arguably the best, photo and video system on any smartphone that exists. And of course, we can debate all day whether the iPhone 13 Pro or the Pixel 6 Pro takes better photos. That is a debate we can have in another video. But regardless of all that, the iPhone has had a really great photo and video system for years, and it's looking like it's going to be even better on the upcoming iPhone 14 series. According to multiple sources now, they have confirmed that presumably the iPhone 14 Pro, maybe even the iPhone 14 will get an upgraded main camera, finally making the jump from 12 megapixels, what we've had for years and years, up to a 48 megapixel main camera. Now, we don't have specifics on exactly how this is going to work, but presumably the iPhone's camera system should now have more pixels to work with, and Apple will probably be following Android manufacturers and using pixel binning to sort of combine pixels together from the 48 megapixel sensor to give you better, higher quality 12 megapixel stills. I'm obviously not a camera engineer or a smartphone photography connoisseur, but hopefully pixel binning should be a good thing that'll give you even better photos and hopefully better videos on the iPhone 14 as well. And speaking of, I guess, video modes, we might be getting an 8K video mode on the iPhone 14 Pro. There have been some rumors that this is going to exist, but those are still sort of unconfirmed as of right now. 8K has existed in other smartphones, but there's been a lot of limitations. Guess we could see this on the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max, but I'm not counting on that as of right now. Inside, the iPhone 14 should be rocking the latest and greatest Apple mobile silicon, the A16 Bionic processor, and we also could see this being cooled by a new vapor chamber cooling system. Okay, so there's a lot we know about the iPhone 14 and certainly a lot to get excited about, but there are continuing to be new rumors and more speculation about other features we could see on the iPhone 14 series, specifically if some of the rumored features for the iPhone 13 that sort of seem like a done deal that didn't make the cut in 2021 will make the cut and will appear on the iPhone 14 in 2022. The biggest one, of course, one of the biggest rumors of last year was the dream combination of Face ID and Touch ID, that Apple would give you the best of both worlds, and we had heard that they were aggressively testing this under-display ultrasonic fingerprint reading technology that would give you Touch ID on your iPhone built in. It sounded like a dream come true, and it sounded like it was going to be great, but then for one reason or another, it sort of just fell off a cliff in the rumor mill and no one was talking about it, and it didn't make the cut with the 13. Could it make the cut on the iPhone 14? Do you think that 2022 is the year that we will see Face ID and Touch ID on the iPhone? Will this only be a pro feature? Do you still even want to see this? Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on that. And also, same goes for the rumored satellite connectivity, the always-on display. Two really great features that were supposed to be on the iPhone 13, but for one reason or another didn't make it. Hopefully they also come to the iPhone 14 as well, and we get Face ID and Touch ID, satellite connectivity, the always-on display feature. Those would be three great features that I would love to see on the all-new 2022 iPhone lineup. There were also some rumored features that were supposed to come to the iPhone 13 that didn't, that I think many people were very excited just tended to stay just a rumor and didn't become reality. Specifically, the removal of the port. We have heard that Apple has been flirting with the idea of removing the port on at least maybe a Pro Max version of the iPhone. They were supposed to do it with the 13, that didn't happen. There have been some rumors that Apple could do it with the iPhone 14, but it seems like as of right now, the Lightning port will remain for at least another year, and Apple will not remove the port just yet. We know from multiple sources that Apple wants to have this portless, buttonless future, that the iPhone just exists without any ports or buttons, and you'd use presumably MagSafe to do all your charging and data transferring. Not exactly sure how this future will look, but we know that Apple is sort of working their way to eventually remove the port. Don't think it's going to happen with the iPhone 14, but I would not be surprised at all that with the iPhone 15 or the iPhone 16, that Apple starts to slowly remove the port, not give us USB-C, but remove the port entirely, and sort of start to move us all into this transitional phase to where we eventually don't have ports on our Apple devices at all. Curious to see when that starts and which iPhone model will be the first to not have a port. Now, in addition to all that news on the iPhone 14, we've also got a little bit of news on the iPhone 15 we should discuss as well. And again, this is still a ways away, even more of a ways away than the iPhone 14, so take this with a major grain of salt. We have heard some news about the iPhone 15 that will be very good and maybe very bad for some of you out there who really love the notch. That's because on the iPhone 15 model, presumably launching in 2023, Apple will not have a notch or a hole punch, at least on one model. They will abandon all of their display cutouts. They're going to presumably move the Face ID components totally under the display, and at least one model, probably the Pro or Pro Max, will have no notch, no cutout, no nothing on the display. You'll just have a beautiful slab of glass that is completely unobstructed by any cutout, hole punch, notch, nothing on there. You're just going to get one big, beautiful pane of glass. Now again, this is a little controversial because it is sort of weird to see Apple make this move so quickly because they tend to do things very slowly. We've had the notch for years and years, and then this year they're supposed to remove the notch on one model, then the next year they remove the hole punch entirely. There are definitely a number of reasons to be skeptical about this and whether or not it's actually going to happen or if it's just sort of the proposed timeline as of right now, but maybe if you're holding out hope for a notchless, hole punchless iPhone, could be coming as soon as the iPhone 15 in 2023. What also could be coming near the 2023 or 2024 iPhone release cycle is the folding iPhone. New reports indicate that yes, Apple continues to work on a new form factor, a folding iPhone that is expected to come sooner than later, sort of, maybe in 2023 or more likely 2024. What we know right now is this is supposed to be an 8-inch QHD Plus display on the inside, probably a smaller display on the outside that really gives us the biggest form factor change we've seen to the iPhone in basically its entire existence since the iPhone was released. The iPhone 16 Fold is still in the works. Apple has not abandoned the Fold project entirely. They're still working on it, and it could be coming in 2 or 3 years from now. So get excited, but just temper your expectations because it's still a little bit of ways away from actually coming to our hands. So that is Apple's iPhone master plan as we know of it right now. Some big changes are coming with the iPhone 14, followed by some other big changes with the iPhone 15, and then iPhone 16 in 2024 could change everything. It could flip, it could fold, lots of cool stuff in the works with the iPhone, and I for one am so excited for the iPhone 14 and just can't wait. But of course, as always, what are your thoughts on the iPhone 14? Do you think that Apple is finally going to remove the notch? What are your thoughts on the new camera improvements, the new design? Are you going to get an iPhone 14? Are you gonna wait for the 15 or 16? What does the iPhone 14 have to make it a must-have phone for you to pick up? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching the Apple Circle. I sincerely appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm Robert Rosenfeld, and I will see you all in the next one.